What's up, my friends? Coach Borino with you on another edition of Borino Live, where I answer your questions, help you with leads, help you with business, help more clients so you can make more money, which we have a sound effect for. You ready for this? There you go. That's why we're here, right? You're running a for-profit business. So the idea is to make some money, help some folks, do it in a cool, non-douchey way, non-pushy, non-salesy way. That's really my strength. To show you that you can be a very successful, very profitable real estate agent without doing all those typical shenanigans of manipulating people and closing people and using all kinds of manipulation and scripts on them, none of that. You can be yourself and still have a good time. So let's dive in. We started with a prospect of a formula. Remember, I gave you the formula yesterday called the PSP, Introducing Problem Solution, Problem Solution. We're going to continue that, and the reason that is important, this beautiful artwork, ta-da! See right here behind me? This is the bullshit meter, the famous Borino BS meter 2000. And you're tripping it, you may not even know it. So let's talk practical stuff. You're lead generating, you're working, and let's say you encounter for sale by owner. Good lead, right? They're worth working. They're definitely worth going after. Ask yourself this. You call that for sale by owner. You get them on the phone. Where do you think their meter, their radar is on? Happy to talk to you, open to suggestion, BS meter, all good, in green or in red? What do you think? Put yourself in their position. Hell, when last time you walked on a car lot to buy a car, was your bullshit meter in the red? Was the radar on, full on, pay attention to every detail so you don't get caught, so you don't get manipulated and bamboozled into a deal you don't want to do? You're in a frame of mind. I'm going to get manipulated. These people cannot be trusted. So the trust level is super low when you start that conversation. It's here. Very little trust, a lot of apprehension, a lot of resistance, a lot of emotions, a lot of questioning. It's just a normal state that your prospects are in encountering salespeople, and worst, real estate salespeople. We don't have the best reputation. I mean, it's partially our fault, unfortunately there are some bad apples in the batch that unfortunately make all of us look bad. That's the reality. But knowing that can also be your advantage. Because now you know, I'm dealing with somebody who has no reason to trust me yet, who doesn't know me yet. That's why I say real estate is like dating. You know what I mean? Two strangers meet. Two strangers start an interaction to benefit each other and hopefully do business down the road, whatever do business means for you. I'm talking dating, right? So you know the BS meter is full on in red. It's supposed to be that way. When a young family walks into an open house, are they happy to see you? Are they shaking your hands, giving you hugs, talking to you, smiling? Not unless they're on something really happy. No, they're not. Because their BS meter is in the red zone. But if you know that up front, if you can expect that, it's just like checking the weather. If I check the weather today, I know it's going to be about 74 and there's going to be no rain, I can work with that. Knowing this, you can work with that. And we can start the process. What is the process? We want to start moving the needle. And that's a process. Move the needle. So we start here. Open house lead, for sale by owner. First we're in red. Now I want to move the needle here. A little baby step. So how do I do that? Well, I teach you many strategies. One of them is the first 4 seconds are so important because they set up the first impression. So how do you do that? Break the pattern. If you don't want to stay in red, where they expect a certain behavior, they have a certain matrix, a certain form to which everybody fits. A salesperson starts with, "Hi, Mr. Jones, this is Borino with ABC Real Estate. How are you today?" All the way in red. Because I match the behavior of a typical salesperson. It's a stranger. Do they give a shit? Oh, you don't? Of course they don't care. It's a phrase. And if you start using phrases, if you start sounding, speaking, and doing things that a typical salesperson does, typical real estate agent does, you're going to be treated that way. And what's the fastest way to get rid of you is pull the plug, get rid of you. Are you with me so far? Is this making sense? All right. So now, how do I move it? First, a nice pattern interrupt. I feel good, I'm smiling, I'm in a good state. I interrupt the pattern, I start behaving slightly differently. I'm not saying show up in a clown outfit at your next open house. Now, that would be a pattern interrupt, but it would not serve the purpose. And I'm not saying you should be jumping up and down when you're talking to these people on the phone, but there should be a certain level of excitement and passion. Notice when I teach you these things. Imagine I would come here with my typical cup of coffee, my ubiquitous cappuccino, and I would start talking with you like this and telling you that hopefully you will enjoy this little idea, this tip that can hopefully bring you maybe some business in the future. You'll be like, get the fuck out of here. Where is your passion? Where's your enthusiasm? Enthusiasm is contagious. Good mood is contagious. It's hard to be pissed off at somebody who's smiling, who's having a good time. So you bring that. That starts moving the needle. Are you with me? So you start moving. That's the goal. We want to slowly, gently start nudging it. Here is where many, many, many agents screw up. They think they're going to go from red to green like this. Whoosh. This conversion, this process of building trust and connection is a process. It's a process, not an event. It's a process, which means it takes time. Now, how long does it take, Borino? Good question. It depends. It depends on two things. It depends on, and we're going to go multimedia. It depends on, one, your skill, how good you are at this. Now, notice I didn't say talent. This is not a talent, this is a skill. Now, yes, there are those very few gifted people who have the knack for it naturally. Natural salespeople, you know, people who are good with people, they're awesome at it, they have no resistance and all that. But those are far and few between. Most of our, like you and I, have to develop a skill. The good news is you can. It's a skill. And number two, their desire to move, their motivation. So if you're good at building this trust and relationship with people, and you combine it with somebody who really wants to move, who has a desire to move, the needle's going to start moving. But you have to have both in place. Because you can be as good as me, or even better, and many of you are better than me at this shit. I am no genius at this. But if you're talking to somebody who has no desire, very low desire to sell, if a for sale buyer says, well, we can give it another 2 years, if the right buyer comes by and pays us $5 million, we'll take it even though we know the house is worth $350,000. Problem. On the other hand, you can have the most motivated seller in the world who says, we got to dump this sucker in 7 days or we're in deep trouble. If you lack the skill, it's not going to happen. The needle is not going to move. So now, the best way to do this is a process of baby steps. Baby steps. Why is that effective? Why is the best way to do that? Wouldn't that be more easier just to get them right from stranger at the door to wow, the best thing that ever happened to us? Because the process of baby step is easier on you and it's easier on your prospects. Then it's just a Newton's law of physics. Body in motion tends to stay in motion. So if you set this up right from the beginning, where you're just smiling and having a good time, and they give you the first yes, the first consent, the needle moves. Then you ask them a few questions about the property. You make it clear, look, I'm not calling you to list the property. I may have a buyer for it, I don't know. I have buyer prospects. Maybe they may be interested, maybe not. I don't know. Let me stop by for a few minutes. I'll take a quick look. I promise I'm not going to bash you over the head and try to force you to list or anything. I don't have any fancy pitch or presentation. I'm just going to take a quick look, maybe take a couple of snapshots to let my prospects know. Would that be okay? Can you give me a 10-minute tour tomorrow at 4:45? Most of the time, if you do this right, again, a little skill, the needle will move. And now you're out of red. Now the resistance has been lowered. Now the connection has been built, just like with dating. How do you start? Maybe a text, maybe an email. Then a phone call, a conversation. Then the first date, a cup of coffee. Needle is moving. Same thing here. Sometimes it takes an hour. I've had expired listings. I don't think I've had it for sale by owner ever. But I've had expired listings where from the time I walk into the house, where I just knocked on the door, sorry your house didn't sell, seems like a really nice house, can we chat for a few minutes, would you give me a quick tour? Hour later, I had a listing. I moved that needle very quickly. Why? Because both these were high. I had a high skill, high motivation. I had a seller who was super motivated, looking for a good agent, was really burned out and pissed off that the other agent didn't get the job done. And I had a good skill building the trust and relationship quickly. So occasionally it moves fast. This can be an hour, but in most cases, don't be disappointed it doesn't happen fast. Think dating. It's a process where two strangers need to develop a certain level of like, trust, and respect. LTR. That's the magic, my friends. They must like you, trust you, and respect you. And on a future live, on my future coaching session, we'll break this down, what the LTR really means, what like, trust, and respect means, and how you establish very quickly, so the needle moves faster. But this process, breaking it down into these steps, is easier on you, because you don't have to think 15 steps ahead. You don't have to think, how am I going to close them at this price for 7% commission? All you have to think is, what's my next step? What is my next step? What is my next step? So the first step is open the conversation. Do a pattern interrupt. Second step is ask a few simple questions in a non-threatening conversational way that you practice because you got the skill. Next step is set up that little visit, that appointment. If you do the first few steps right, there should not be a problem. Needle moves, another yes. Next, you're going to stop by, have a 10, 15-minute conversation with the FSBO, offer something of value, ask some questions, offer some good advice, some tips. Needle moves again. And then if you deem the seller somewhat motivated and you believe that the relationship is building up, you set up a follow-up. That's usually how the process works, and the needle keeps moving. And then you're not going to compete with agent who has better marketing, has been in the business longer than you, works for a famous national franchise company. The only competition you're going to have is where your needles are, because you're never the only one, right? So if your needle on like, trust, and respect scale on the BS meter is here, and there is Joe from Discount Realty here, you win. You get the listing. They like you. They trust you. They respect you. You pass the filter of the BS. You don't act like a salesperson. You are not manipulating them. You're not lying to them. You're not deceiving them at any point. You're a high-status agent who confidently demonstrates that you're competent, you know your stuff, and you're there to help. A needle moves. And once you hit the green zone, and they are motivated, since we've been talking about for sale by owners, sooner or later they're going to end up listing. 7 out of 10 lists. Those are the stats. Those are the statistics. It's a great source of business, but you do need the skill and you need the process. This, moving the needle, is a process. It's a process of follow-up. It's a process of, we talked about it yesterday, PSP. Watch that video. Problem, solution, problem, solution. That's how you walk them through it. That's how you position yourself as the authority. That's how you take control. And that's how you provide value. Goodwill. First, you need to bring goodwill out. First, you need to demonstrate. First, you need to do your part. You need to do your work before you can ask for money, you can ask for referrals, you can ask for business. Make sense? That's the process, friends. So don't treat the BS meter. Don't try too fast, too much. That's number one. Number two, don't behave in a way that the seller expects your average real estate agent to behave. Being too nice, too needy, low status. Oh, I love your puppy. You have such a cute puppy. I wish I had a puppy like that. It's so cute. Come on. Oh, lovely kitchen. I loved. High status agent. Not arrogant, not an asshole. Don't need to be a douchebag. Just be cool, but confident. Confident, in control, articulate, speaking well, communicating well. And then controlling the situation with questions. Where do you get all that? Skill. Skill. You need to practice the right stuff. Practice only makes permanent. Practicing the right stuff will make you perfect, make you really good. See the difference? Most agents do not practice all this stuff. That's why they suck. Now imagine a Super Bowl team going for the final game would spend last 2 weeks not practicing. Is that possible? Impossible. There is so much on the line. And yet you have opportunities to make $5, $10, $15, $20,000 plus referrals. How would you not practice? It's part of the job. So you practice. You practice the right stuff. You get good at it. So most agents don't practice. Some practice until they get it right. Nah. Rockstars and you, my path students, practice until you cannot get it wrong. Where you get it down, asking questions, being in control, handling objections, setting up appointments, doing the walkthrough, building relationship, building like, trust, and respect, qualifying the seller, figuring out what is it that they're really trying to do, what matters to them the most, what is the fear holding them back, and what is driving them, and then incorporating that in a process we call core drive and emotion into the communication so it resonates with the seller. So you'll never have to bother with stuff like, I'm different. We have this fancy widget that puts your property on Facebook. Wow. Don't need to do any of that. It's only going to be a human being, a decent human being with a lot of skill, a lot of confidence, a lot of competence, willing to help with tools that matter in a way that's pleasant to the seller. You're going to move the needle. Does this all make sense? So how do you do that? Communication, number one. Mindset, number two, of course. And a process. It's a process through the communication and a follow-up. Step after step after step after step. You will have some prospects that will be ready in an hour. You will have some that will take a few days. You will have some that may take a few weeks. And then you'll have some that will take a few months. It's just a process. But because you keep going, because you keep stuffing the pipeline with fresh new leads every day, some convert right away, some will never convert. Some, unfortunately, that sucks when they go with somebody else. But it's going to happen. But because the pipeline is always full, you're never going to lose sleep over it, because you know a certain percentage will be your clients. A certain percentage will become your prospects, clients, listings, commissions. And the good news is, all of this is good news, really, but the best part is you can create a plan around it. You can start projecting it. You can improve the parts that don't work well, they don't perform well. Most of them around your systems and your skills. Yes? You can do this, guys. You can totally do this. It's just a sequence of steps. Yes, you need to master some of it, like the communication, like answering questions, listening, and all that. But you can do this. It's totally doable. Right? All right, so Victor has a question. What can I put in a pre-listing package? Victor, very good question. I'm a big believer in pre-listing package. By the way, we are releasing the Presentation Plus 2.0. Almost everything is done now. It's just some technical stuff we need to figure out. The downloads need to work automatically, access to the website. The videos are loaded. All of that is loaded. It's a brilliant program that I'm very proud of, that I think you will really enjoy. How to do a kill listing presentation, prepare for it, how to demonstrate your high status, and you will also get what happens before the actual listing, including my pre-listing package. But to answer your question, Victor, what you want to accomplish with your pre-listing package is move the needle again. That means you want to demonstrate you're competent. You want to demonstrate that you're confident you can get the job done. You want to provide seller with good information, but more than just information. There's plenty of information right now. They can get shit. They can get home values on Zillow. I know. Zillow. Said the Z word. Not very accurate, but there's plenty of information, online, offline, everywhere. What you want to provide is insight. And the difference between information and insight is, with information, you give data. With insight, you give explanation how that impacts the seller, what it means to them. And then give them guidance based on what they're trying to do, the best course of action. That's the difference. So in the pre-listing package, there should be, of course, a nice little cover letter. Thanks for your trust. Appreciate the opportunity. Very much looking forward to meeting you and chatting with you about moving to Austin. You're going to give them your resume. The one you get from me is an 8-page document. It's a nice color print because you want to create good impression. Very important. You're going to give them a checklist, how to prepare the house for showing. This is just so you don't waste a lot of time, especially if you don't use a stager. How to prepare the house for showing. A market overview. This is not a CMA, just kind of a quick glance of what's going on in the neighborhood. This is important for two reasons. One, it shows a hope, a possibility. It can be done. Other people are moving. You can as well. Two, most sellers, and this is just human behavior, nothing out of the ordinary, will expect more for their house. If you start kind of softening it up with reality, showing them what's really going on, what properties are being listed for and sold for, this somewhat softens the blow. You still need to deliver a killer listing presentation with good pricing strategy, and I'll teach you a process during the Presentation Plus course that you're going to take with me called the emotional decoupling. You're going to cut the cord of the emotional attachment of the seller to the property in the process so that pricing becomes a lot easier. It just becomes math. So you're going to include that, some marketing samples, and I like to always include a sold sticker, just to demonstrate my confidence that we're going to get it done, the property will be sold. All right? That's good enough. Most sellers will not read it page by page. Most sellers will glance at it, but that's all you need. Is continue that impression. I'm an expert. I'm a high status advisor. I care about you. You're important to me. And here's some important insight. All right, Victor? So put one together, or better yet, when we release it in just a few days, come on board, get the Presentation Plus 2.0. You're going to get all this from me, including the slides you're going to use during the presentation. Plus, I'll walk you through the whole process myself. I'll explain everything to you. You will have access to me. So if you have questions, you need help with it, I'll help you. Because let's be honest, if you don't have a good listing presentation, all this lead generation, all this follow-up, doesn't matter. you're leaving a lot of money on the table. You need to have a killer listing presentation, especially in this market with instant offers and iBuyers and Zillows moving in. You need to deliver. And the secret is not in script, the secret is not in closing, it's somewhere else. It's in human behavior and psychology. And that's, as you know, my strength. That's what I teach you guys. Okay? All right, so this is what I wanted to share with you today. I hope this was helpful. Keep moving the needle. Don't be surprised when you start here. You want to end up here. This is the yes zone. You can get there quickly with skill, working with motivated sellers, expired listings, old expireds, for sale by owners, referrals, open house visitors, all good sources of leads that you can convert quickly. Glad you were here with me today. Really enjoyed it. Glad you spent some time educating yourself. Important, absolutely vital. I signed up for 2 courses yesterday. I paid a lot of money to a lot of smart people to teach me some more cool stuff because I, just like everybody else, have to keep up and educate myself and get better so that I can make you better. That's my goal. Have a fantastic weekend, everybody. I appreciate you being here today. Coach Borino signing off. Have a terrific weekend. Oh, and if you want my systems, like the FSBO system, I have it. You can get my whole book where I explain the FSBO psychology, scripting, and all that is there. You have a couple of ways to get it. You can either go to FSBORINO.com, and just order it. You get videos where I'll teach you the whole system. You get the book. Or, better yet, you might want to jump and do the Path with me. Path is my training program, ongoing training membership program, where you're not only going to get this and a bunch of other books and systems from me, but accountability, my support, my help to help you crush the last quarter of this year and make next year absolutely awesome. So check it out. Go to goborino.com. And if you have any questions, please post them here. I visit Rockstars. It's my group, of course, so I like to visit and answer your questions and help you any way I can. My friends on YouTube, same thing goes for you. Post questions. Let me help you, because this can be a great time to be a successful real estate agent. All right, guys, have a fantastic weekend. I'll talk to you soon. Coach Borino signing off. Let's go get him. Ciao. Bye, everybody.